Ayan. Hey, mga ka-shot
Hello
Puno.
mga ka-shot Puno.
Oh my God.
Hello Makoy.
Hi, Aaron. Kinakabahan ako. Go, sabihin mo na yung opening.
Podcast na nanghihiram ng lakas ng loob sa alak sapagkat hindi lahat ng umiinom ay nagwawalwal o may pinagdadaanan. Yung iba nga Makoy,
Nagpa-podcast. At ito yung episode na talagang umiinom ako. This is TSP Talk Shot Puno, produced by FLM Creatives. Hi, Direct Frank.
Hello, Direct Frank. Nandito.
Actually, Aaron, it's been a while na
Yeah.
nagkita tayo face-to-face. For a long time, Zoom tayo. And nakikita na siguro
Nakakapanibago.
nila. Kasi
Nakakapanibago.
sa Spotify po, pwede na rin upload yung video.
Videocast.
Videocast. So, ang kasama po namin, of course, he needs no introduction. The King of Talk, Mr. Boy Abunda. Hi, Tito Boy.
Hi,
Hello
hi.
Tito Boy.
Hi, Aaron. Hi.
Welcome po sa Talk Shot Puno, the podcast.
Okay, relax na ako, promise. Actually, short kwento.
Si Makoy talaga.
Nung minessage ko si Tito Boy, after 2 days ka nag-reply, di ba, Tito Boy?
Yes.
So, akala ko,
Oo.
okay lang. Sabi ko, okay lang na hindi niya napansin. Sabi kong ganon, or busy siya, okay lang naman. Tumawag. So, sabi niya, how can I say no? Sabi niya ganon. So,
Oo
let's do
naman.
this. Ang request mo lang, Tito Boy, ayaw mo ng Zoom.
Ayoko. Pagod ako.
Ayun. Bakit nga ba ayaw mo ng Zoom?
3 years? Naka-Zoom ka? No, it's a different energy. Ibang pagod.
Correct.
Di mo alam kung naririnig ka, di mo alam kung na-appreciate ka, hindi mo alam kung naiinis na sa'yo ang tao, hindi mo alam. Marami bagay. Lalo na tayo, because we're used to doing live talk
Yes.
shows, hindi mo alam yung nuances, hindi mo alam kung naunawaan ang iyong pinagsasabi, o hindi alam kung, marami kang hindi alam. And that's a strange territory to me as a talk show host. Kasi, hindi lamang yung di ba, verbal cues ang
Physical,
pinapanood
yung mga
mo.
reactions.
Oo, nag-aantay ka ng reaksyon, nag-aantay ka ng ismid, ng ngiti, ng iba't ibang klaseng reaksyon. So, hanggat maaari ayoko, kahit sa meetings, ayoko ng Zoom ngayon. Gusto ko naman makatikim ng live interaction.
Pero pag maraming meetings, Tito Boy, pabor din minsan yung Zoom.
Oo naman. Lalo na pag nagkakasabay-sabay, like
Yes.
you're doing a production
Maraming
meeting,
racket,
and
yes.
then meron kang Zoom na isa sa ibang lugar. Yeah. May advantage naman.
Pero
So-
iba pa rin pag may real connection kasi.
Correct.
Oo.
Pag yung tao talaga yung kumusap.
Tsaka may mic, no?
At saka iba yung dynamics. Iba, katulad halimbawa, I delivered a lot of graduation speeches via
By Zoom?
Yeah. Ilang beses.
Live recorded.
Live.
Ah.
Far Eastern University, AMA, and many other schools. Hirap na hirap ako. You know what I would request? Hihingi ako sa monitor ng
Ng mga estudyante.
mga estudyante
Reactions.
para at least alam ko na may kinakausap ako.
Correct.
Dahil nahihirapan ako. Kailangan may relasyon pag
Correct,
talk.
tama.
There has to be, whether it is, even if it is just a momentary relationship, but you have to build a relationship.
Correct.
Mga questions yan.
Opo. Parang ngayon na ulit ako gumawa ng talk points. Usually, di ba, pag talk show, gumagawa talaga ako ng way. Ano pa?
Sanay ka dyan
Oo, sanay naman sa ganito, Tito Boy. Pero ibang ano lang talaga to, ibang challenge.
Tito
Kasi,
Boy, iba yung kaba ni Makoy dito. Promise.
kinakwento ko. Hindi, actually, the last
Considering that has worked for me,
Oo.
for a long
The last
time.
project we did, Tito Boy, aside sa bottom line, kasi I was your social media producer
Right.
for a time. And then, guestings mo sa Magandang Buhay. And the last was the 60th anniversary of Ate V. Na writer ako talaga. So, and nag-guest ka dun as guest host for Tony's birthday, remember?
Right,
Yun.
I remember that.
Very few times, pero lahat yun markado. Tsaka nung sa Vilma, Tito Boy, tama kayo, interaction natin doon, very live Yung meeting natin ng 1 a.m., yung hinihimay na natin yung script talaga. And when you came dun sa location, sa shoot, nakaprint na yung cue cards mo nang may sarili kang font size. 'Di ba? Naka-per body na.
Sobrang organized.
Sobra. So ikaw yung mape-pressure.
Hindi, that's my way of showing commitment to my
Yes.
material. Pero yung pagkatrabaho natin, we work together on Vilma's 60th, Ativi's 60th anniversary. Nakikiramdam din ako lalo na ngayon, sa new batch of writers. Nakikiramdam ako. Not with Makoy, kasi maraming beses na kami nagkatrabaho. Nakikiramdam ako na naiintindihan ako ng maayos because I have a natural inclination to teach.
Correct.
Naninimbang ako doon. Naninimbang ako doon kasi baka hindi tama yung dating. Yung mga writers who've worked with me all these years know that when we do a particular episode, it's another class. I learn with them. Kaya importante sa akin yon. Yung ano naman, yung there are interviewees like Vilma, like Ate V, Ate Guy, na hindi ka pwedeng, lalo na pag mahaba,
Correct.
hindi ka pwedeng lumayo ng todo because I interview by listening. You know, with one word, we can do a 4-hour conversation. So, I as much as I could during the time, I wanted to stick to the talking points para, kasi ang haba, di ba? Remember, I was talking about each episode.
Filmography and
Oo.
all.
And I don't want to impose my limitations on a production. Halimbawa, kung ito ang font ko, ito ang kulay ko, ito, ihahanda ko yun. I have a
Correct.
staff that does it.
Yes.
Oo, I have a staff
So,
that does
super
it.
ready. Kaya, naka-pressure. Pero hindi, tama ka Tito Boy eh. Yung tendency mo to teach, talagang nandun na yun sa'yo eh. Yun nga yung next question namin. Bakit nga ba napaka-generous mo sa mga new batch of writers, kami na newbie podcasters? Why, di ba, ba't ka nag-yes? Di ba, parang feeling kasi namin, for now, hindi pa kami ganun, syempre wala pa naman kaming reach
Wala
talaga.
akong scoop na masyado.
Pero nag-yes ka sa amin. So, ibang big deal sa amin. So, bakit ka nag-yes? And why
Una,
you're so generous?
Dahil ikaw ang nangumbida sa akin. I have so much respect for you, McCoy. I don't say that very often. Pangalawa, yung generosity, tanggap ko yon without false humility. Because ako din, recipient ako, I was at the mercy of the kindness of strangers and friends in my career. So, naturuan din ako, nakinig din ako. I got to where I am today because I knew nothing in the beginning. So, marami ring nagturo sa akin, marami nag-share. I was raised by, the Duyen of Manila's 400, Tita Conching, and I was taught the ways of public relations. When I got into hosting, I didn't know anything. I didn't realize that knowing starts with not knowing. So, pag may mapagkakataon that I'm given the chance to share, ginagawa ko yun. Pero dahil nga sa limitasyon ng schedule, I'm not able to do that with everyone. Pero pag meron, I try. I try. Kasi gusto ko yung attitude na gusto ko rin matuto.
Correct.
Tapos, there has to be continuity in the industry. Parating tinatanong sa akin, who do you think should come after you?
Yes.
Sabi ko, sana marami. Sana talaga marami. But I don't think na plano ang lahat ng bagay. Because when I got into the industry, when I got into hosting and interviewing, wala rin naman akong alam. I was a manager. I was an artist manager. I was a publicist. I was a high-profile publicist and manager. So, I learned the tricks of the job while I was doing it. Naalala ko yung first show ko sa GMA7. I was hosting with Gretchen Barreto. At ang sabi ko after the first episode, bigyan niyo po ako ng 4 na show. Malalaman ko, I would know what I'm doing. So, that's where my desire to share, to mentor, to teach, ako iniiwasan ko yung teach eh. Kasi kahit in my public speaking classes, sinasabi ko, I am not here to teach. I am here to mentor, to help you discover your power to tell your story.
Wow.
Very beautiful.
Uy, okay, nare-relax na ako dito. Okay. Hindi, ayun, Tito Boy, yung topic nga kasi, di ba, when I talk to you over the phone, sabi ko sa'yo, gusto kasi naming ma-establish yung brand.
Hindi ako nagbabasa ng questions,
Yeah.
alam mo? Because I like the freshness
Yes.
of a discussion.
Kami lang, Tito Boy, parang hindi kami ma-lost.
Hindi, alam ko. Hindi na yan. Si Andre nga was saying, no other guide questions, pero alam kong hindi mo babasahin because you want to come in raw and fair. Ako gusto ko yung instinct ko. I like playing with, and I like being uncomfortable minsan. I don't like looking for what's comfortable for me. I like instances and moments when I am not comfortable because minsan doon lumalabas yung galing mo. doon lumalabas yung pangil mo pag hindi ka masyadong handa.
Yes. Ay, yun. Game. So, tanong na natin. So, Tito Boy, kasi yung branding mo, di ba, sobrang established na.
Iba yung
branding na
person
King
nun.
of Talk,
Oo.
di ba, Aaron? Pag King of Talk, alam mo na yan. Pag interviewer si Tito Boy.
Lalo na sa generation natin na
Yes.
mulat sa The Buzz. Yung, sa Sundays.
Tsaka
di ba?
nag-Star Talk pa si Tito Boy.
Bago magsimba.
Yes. Di ba nag-Star Talk ka,
Kami ni
Tito Boy?
Chris,
Oh.
we started that.
GMA sila.
Manaylolit, we started Star Talk. Before that, I did shows with Dawn, with Gretchen, and everyone.
Correct. So, paano na-establish yung branding mo na yan, Tito Boy? Yung personal branding mo? Is it by intentional ba siya? Or talagang nangyari na lang?
Nabuo ba?
Oo,
Tito
nabuo
Boy
out of
those
sunod-sunod na
years
projects, yes.
The honest answer to that is, when I look back in retrospect, hindi siya sinasadya. Hindi siya nakaplano, hindi siya nakasulat. Kasi makisulat ako eh. When I do my branding propositions, when I do my branding plans, for example, for other artists, for products, for shows, for organizations, nagsusulat ako. I do my PowerPoints, I do my, I do my homework. Pero yung akin, walang plano. Walang nakalatag na plano na dito ako mag-uumpisa, ito yung brand ko, ito yung imahe ko, wala. Pero, ang advantage, and this goes for aspiring public figures in whatever industry, whether it be politics or show business, but anything that is public. Ang alam ko lang, as a manager, importante na naiintindihan ko na yung brand equity noon. Naiintindihan ko na yung what sets you apart. What is your unique selling proposition? Kasi as a manager, I remember when I was managing Ariel Rivera, halimbawa. Sikat si Martin Rivera at si Gary Valenciano. Sabi ko nung pumasok kami with Ariel, ano ba ang positioning natin kay Ariel na mapapansin tayo ng merkado na hindi natin gagayahin si Gary at hindi natin gagayahin si Martin. Mahirap naman gayahin talaga yung dalawa. And I was the publicist of Martin. I worked with the biggest stars during that time as a publicist. I was representing Culi Desma, Jaja Padilla, Martin. I couldn't handle Gary because I was handling Martin. Regine Velasquez from the very beginning. Apo Hiking Society. Vernie Varga eventually managed. So alam ko yung dapat merong differentiator tayo.
Correct.
Alam ko yan as a manager. So nung ako'y nag-host, alam ko na hindi ako manggagaya. Pero may mga problema rin ako dahil it's easier said than done. Alam ko hindi ako pero in the beginning kasi, Aaron, McCoy, I wasn't serious. You know, when Bobby Barreiro of GMA7 called me and said, would you want to be an on-cam talent? Sabi ko, yeah. Wala naman ako hinihindihan nun. But during that time, I was already sitting as a member of the board of consultants for corporate communications of GMA7. So daldal na ako ng daldal doon sa mga meetings. Kahit ano, dumadaldal ako, pinakikialaman ko. I was into branding, I was into marketing, I was into PR without necessarily knowing some of the things that I was doing meant certain things to other people. So, hindi ako conscious. Kahit yung King of Talk, hindi ko alam kung saan ang galing yun.
For sure yung mga press na.
Oo, hindi ko alam kung saan ang galing yun.
Oo.
Not knowing that it was going to be a very strong brand. Salamat kung sino man ang nag-isip nun. Pero hindi ako. Kasi marami akong title na ginawa para sa maraming tao.
Oo,
naman.
sa ibang tao.
Marami
For yourself.
akong title na ginawa sa mga talents na hinahandle ko. Pero sa akin, I knew that I was not going to copy anyone. I knew my insecurities na ginamit ko to fuel my hosting, my interviewing skills. Kasi may kaibigan ako, and this is a famous story among my peers, people close to me. When I was starting as a host, he's still very active. This guy is still very active. This man is still one of the most powerful men in the industry. Tinawag ako for, casual conversation. Sabi niya, usap tayo, balik ka. Sabi niya, alam mo, I know you're being invited to do on-cam work for GMA7. Sabi ko, parang wala lang. Gusto ko lang subukan. Sabi niya, huwag na. Yung ayok na. Because it's not easy.
So pinipigilan ka nung una?
Ay,
Discourage.
as in, massive, immense conversations about their, hindi naman detestation, no? Pero yung, alam mo yung pinipigilan ka dahil ayaw niyang, I don't wanna hurt you. Sabi ko, bakit? Ano ba pinanggagalingan mo? You're doing very well. One day you're going to own your advertising agency. One day you're going to be a marketing icon, etc. Kasi nga, I was into marketing, I was into public relations. Sabi ko, bakit ayaw mo akong subukan mag-telebisyon? Sabi niya, number one, he knows this. I mean, he's one of the biggest movers of this industry. Sabi
Until
niya,
now?
Until now.
Okay.
Until now.
Sino kayo?
Mamaya natin tanong off cam.
Tinanong ko siya actually if I can name him. Yung in some of my interviews, sabi ko, no.
Baka mabash. Uso bash
Hindi,
yun.
pero, well-meaning kasi he was coming from a space of love. He was coming from a space of,
okay.
he was coming from a space of respect. Sobra ang paniniwala niya sa potential ko during the time na,
Sa other fields.
sayang, oo, you're gonna be in advertising, you're going to be a mind, influencer, etc. Sabi ko, ano nga ang dahilan kung bakit ayaw mo? Ay, number one, waray ka.
Huh? Okay.
You have an accent. Ito yan, because over 30 years ago, when I was starting on television as a host, iba pa yung landscape, no?
Correct.
Who were hosting during the time? Eduardo,
Ay,
Miguel
si-
Rodriguez, Martin Rivera, yun yung mga hosts.
Eduardo is Edu Manzano.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you had Ariel Oreta.
Oh.
May ibang, kahit yung,
Parang may template sila na
Oo.
gusto nila.
Englishers,
kahit
mga ganun,
yung
Tito Boy.
Oo, yung mga tonal pattern. iba
Konyo,
yun, diba?
ish.
So sabi niya, it may be a problem because you're Waray, you're Bisaya. And you're an abashedly Bisaya. Alam mo naman ako, hindi ko tinatago yan. I always share this story because many aspiring hosts start from the point of weakness. Ay, hindi ko kaya yun kasi hindi ako marunong mag-Ingles. Hindi ko kaya yun kasi Ilocano ako, may accent ako. Hindi. Don't start from the point of weakness. Leksyon ko yun. Start from the point of
Your
strength. Diba? Hindi man may punto man ako, but I will not allow my punto to define who I am. I will not allow my Waray accent
Stop.
for anybody to put me down, to denigrate me.
Yes.
So number one yun.
Buti hindi ka umano, Tito.
Ay hindi.
Hindi ka
Number two,
nakinig.
sabi niya, you're gay.
Oh.
Sabi ko, so what's the problem with my being gay? Sabi niya, hindi ka pa naman nahihiya sabihin yun. Sabi ko, hindi talaga ako nahihiya. I'm very open about it. Dahil there was a sense, I think, hanggang ngayon naman pero hindi na kasing lala. There was a sense that if you're gay, you're a comedic punchline.
Oh, yes.
Diba? You're supposed to, may template din, to use the word there. Meron
Dapat
ding,
komedyante.
dapat ganito,
Okay,
dapat
mga
ganyan.
ganon.
And that one I resented. Medyo I resented that a bit. Sabi ko, I think that's a form of homophobia. Naalala ko to. Sabi ko, that's a form of discrimination. Na parang, saan naman pumapasok dito yung sexual orientation at gender identity mo? Hindi pa SOGIE during that time. Pero nag-uumpisa na ma-form yun. Tapos na ang Jogjakarta principles noon. But anyway, the third one was, sabi niya, hindi ka kagandahan.
Oh my God.
It was a euphemism for, kulang na lang sabihin pangit ka, di ba? Hindi masyadong kagandahan. But I also got that because in the landscape, you had the Edu Manzanos of this world. I mean, dudes whose mother I worked with and who I really loved dearly. You had the Martin Riveras. You had Miguel Rodriguez. Who was
All
just
good-looking naman talaga.
fabulous and gorgeous. And you want to get into this space na, ano ka, di ba? Tapos sabi ko doon sa friend ko, okay, I'm listening, I hear you. Pero sabi ko, alam mo naman ako, malaro ako. Pag sinabihan mo akong hindi ito pwede, tatanungin kita hanggang matapos ang mundo kung bakit. I will dribble that concept till thy kingdom come. Sabi ko, bakit what if I use these 3 reasons as triggers to my wanting to be a host?
Oh, nice. Oo nga.
Sabi niya, ang hirap mo naman kausap. Sabi
So,
ko,
nag-give up?
Nag-give up.
Okay.
Sabi niya, I really wish you the best. You know how much I love you. I will support you. I will be cheering for you. But don't tell me I didn't warn you.
Oh.
Pero see how you've proven him wrong all these years, di ba?
Pero it was not also conscious error na I'm gonna prove him wrong. Wala, I was just having fun. Maybe because I was secure about many other things. Pero I was also insecure about so many other things. But both things that secure and make me feel insecure, lahat yan ini-embrace ko. Di ko dinideny.
That's nice, Tito Boy. Buti hindi ka nakinig sa kanya. Pero ang question ko, saan yung nangyaring conversation? Ano yung setting? Office?
Hindi, sa isang cafe.
So intentional to. Kinausap
As in talagang meet.
Hindi kanya yung hinila sa isang tabi.
Hindi,
As in-
concerned talaga siya.
Okay.
Because nakatrabaho ko siya sa isang campaign for soap detergent for P&G, and I was part of the think tank, and he saw me up close. I mean, he saw me work really up close. Nanghihinayang lang siya. Sayang. At that time, I was already managing Ariel Rivera, Vernie Varga. I was managing Monique Wilson, who was doing Miss Saigon, The Company, yung mga ganun. Ano lang siya na, huwag na, baka, ganun.
Baka mawala pa sa'yo itong mga meron ka na ngayon.
At saka ang nakikita nila, what else can you do? You talk about Disney, you talk about Imagineering, you talk about branding, you talk about management, and then you're gonna go into hosting. So yun.
Pero because of that, parang dahil partly din doon sa sinabi niya, ngayon sobrang lakas ng brand na Tito Boy Abunda.
Correct.
Because I stuck to my truth. I stuck to the truth. What are my truths? Bahagi doon yung ini-embrace ko na hindi ako si Catriona Gray o si Pia Wurtzbach. Pero meron ako na wala sila.
Correct.
As a matter of fact, I trained both of them in Q&A.
Amen.
You know, so merong ganun. So, inseguridad ko yun na hindi ako kasing gwapo ni Zac Efron, but I interviewed Zac Efron. You know? Hindi ako insecure dahil I was gay. I was, as a matter of fact, resentful of using my soji as a reason for not even trying to get into television hosting. Pero yung accent, hindi. Nasabi ko, anong accent mo? Go to your truth. Stick to your core. Huwag mo i-deny yun. That's part of your beauty. That's part of your brand equity. Bahagi yan ng kung ano ang naalala ng tao. As a manager, conscious ako dun eh. Pag kumanta ka ng kanta, like, you know, Eric Santos. Eric, whose concert is
Nangyari na.
going to happen. Nangyari na.
Nung October 6.
Oh, okay. October 6. Eric Santos auditioned inside my car.
Oh.
Okay? Pero para lang sinasabi kay Eric, when you sing a song, how are you going to do it na ikaw lang ang makakagawa? So inside my car, he was doing, I believe I can fly, this is the moment, etc., etc. Pero yun lagi ang conversation namin ni Eric. Ano ang ibibigay mo sa akin na iyo lang? Hugot sa sarili mong kwento, hugot sa sarili mong pagkaunawa ng awit. Huwag kang, don't tell the story of another person. The only story you know and the only story you can defend is your story.
Yes.
And that's your core. Kahit sa inuman dito, halimbawa, I like that whole spiel na ang daming, what did you say, Aaron?
Hindi lahat.
Hindi lahat ng umiinom nagwawalwal o may pinagdadaanan. Yung iba,
Nagpa-podcast
lang.
Kami yun. Actually, teka lang bago tayo
Di ba
lumayo.
napakaganda?
Ano to, season 3, opener namin tong episode with Tito Boy.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Tito Boy. 27th episode.
Opening season 3 with a bang. With the one and only.
Ang season ender namin was Melay. Ng season 2.
Oh,
So, paano namin tatapatan yun? So, ikaw na.
Mahal ko yun.
Yes.
Mahal ko si Mel. But like sila Melay, they were very nervous hosts when
Correct.
they started. They were very
Correct, Tito
nervous
Boy.
hosts when they started. But look at them
7 years.
now. Di ba?
Yeah, 7 years na.
Nakaka-
Namamayagpag pa rin sa morning.
Nakakatuwa. And the thing with Melay, which is good for hosts, katulad yung kanina, she expresses it. Tito, kinakabahan ako. Hindi ko alam kung ano ang sasabihin. Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin ko. Like, you know, when Tony Gonzaga was talking about me and Chris, I realized that, sabi niya, alam mo, Tito Boy, I worked with you for what, 6 years. All I did was listen to you and watch Chris, Miss Chris Aquino. And that's how you learn. That's how you learn.
Parang gusto nga lang namin makinig ngayon, Tito Boy.
Pero Tito Boy, kahit ba yung mga ordinary na tao, kailangan ba meron silang parang personal brand?
Dapat. Because Steve Jobs, do not be caught in a trap of living the story of another person because that doesn't belong to you. Nanay ka, guro ka, nagtatrabaho ka sa office. Stop pretending to be who you are not. The biggest mistake is that, pero cultural din ito
Correct.
We have been asked as a certain generation, to blend. Ba't hindi ka katulad ng kapatid mo? Ba't hindi ka katulad ng kapitbahay natin? Bakit hindi ka katulad ng ganito? Bakit hindi ka matipid katulad ni ganito?
Correct.
Hindi ho talaga, dahil hindi ho ako sila. Ako. I can be a
Amen.
better version of myself. But being a better version of myself does not take a comparison with my brother or sister. So yung blending, di ba, yung encouragement, and that again comes from a space of love. Ang nanay na, anak, wala tayo masyadong pera, ba't hindi ka gumaya sa ate mo? Di ba?
So nalilimitahan din minsan yung
Yeah, and then,
mga tao.
at saka it becomes a mindset that you have to be like, when in fact, you can be who you are. Sabi nga ng isang awitin, I ain't here to be you. I am here to be me.
ang daming quotable quotes. So Tito Boy, yung mga yung branding mo ba as a person, kung ikaw yung iba-brand mo yung
Halimbawa
sa
kayo.
tao.
May exercise.
Yun na nga. Paano ba namin mababrand yung sarili namin? Dapat ba yung branding mo is who you are
This
as a
is mine.
person?
Yes,
po.
sir.
Thank you.
Who you are as a person? Or, di ba, nami-mix up siya minsan eh.
Hindi, ang sarap pag-usapan yan kasi katulad sa negosyo natin, people would say, it's time for you to reinvent. Naririnig mo yan,
Yes,
Makoy.
oo.
Ako naman natatawa ako minsan because for one to be reinvented, you have to have been invented. Paano ka naman magre-reinvent kung hindi ka pa nai-invent? Okay?
Correct. Makes sense. Tama.
Or, paano ka magre-reinvent kung hindi pa na-maximize yung original invention? Think about it very
May
carefully.
potential pa eh.
Yeah.
Kumbaga meron pang ipopush.
Let's go to branding. Ang branding, we can only talk about branding if there is a product.
Right.
Okay? Whether it is sabon, public official, an organization, or Philippine Airlines. I sat down in a meeting where we talked about the airlines. For example, there has to be a product. Kailangan may produkto. And in this case, what is a product? The product is a podcast.
Yes.
McCoy and Aaron. Di ba? So,
We're listening, Tito Boy.
pag-aralan natin mabuti yung produkto, isuot natin ano ba ang strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats nito. Aralin natin. So, ang material na gagawin natin ay podcast. Di ba? So, anong produkto natin? Yun, that line captures the whole thing, which is hindi lahat ng umiinom ay nagwawalwal. Ang iba nagpo-podcast. I love that. I remember it.
Aww.
I remember that, and it's a nice line. It's a tricky line, and it's imaginative, and it is as if it were crafted for people to remember, which I like. Kasi meron ka ng indication na alam mong,
Umiinom.
aside from umiinom, you're performing it before an audience.
Yes.
Kasi kahit naman anong sabihin natin, you talk about authenticity, you talk about being real, but guys, this is a performance. We're in front of a mic. There's an audience eavesdropping. There's an audience watching. So, naroon tayo. Go to the product. Ano ba ang produkto natin? How are we doing it? Tama bang ating rapport? Tama bang ating pinag-uusapan? Tama bang mga choices natin? Because the product also evolves.
Correct.
Di ba?
Yes.
Hindi naman kadalasan, halimbawa, yung umpisa ganito, tapos nagiging ganito. So it takes a while. So, like, you're on your third season. One season is how long?
13 episodes, Tito Boy.
13, just like television.
Yes.
Pero
Pinaturn ko doon.
pero sabi nga, ito nga Makoy, sabi nga ng isang television executive, and I appreciated the line, boy, bakit 13 ang one season? Sabi ko, hindi ko alam.
Ako
Wala
nga
naman
rin.
talaga. Wala
Oo nga,
talagang
hindi ko rin
requirement.
alam.
Walang standard
In the-
ba yun?
Wala.
In
Sa
the
TV
US,
lang.
you can be 6, you can be 8, you can be 10, you can be,
Kasi sa
correct.
Netflix iba-iba eh.
Yeah.
Di ba may 8? May pag Korean
Depende,
mga 16.
depende.
Yes.
So, sa TV lang nag-set ng
So you
church.
define certain things. Anyway, but nakaka 2 seasons na kayo. So you're evolving. Ano ba ang saan tayo papunta? What is being appreciated? Ano ba ang nagre-resonate? Sino ba ang mas maraming nanonood? So, yung produkto pa lang, we're not talking about branding
Yes.
yet. You solidify the product. You solidify the product. In the same way that I had to learn, I had to learn how it was to interview. Sobra akong daldal nung ako'y nag-uumpisa, hindi ko pinapapagsalita yung mga guests ko. I was learning.
Nagulat ako doon, Tito Boy.
I was learning because I was crafting, I was building the product.
Correct.
Okay. When the product, hindi pa ito absolute, when the product is ready to be branded, that's when you start branding. But how do you know that you're ready? You would know. You would know. Feedback mechanisms na parang, Ron, Makoy, parang pwede na. Pwede na natin let's go a step higher this time. Ngayon nga you're doing already Tito Boy, you're already doing
Yes.
hosts, etc., etc. So alam mo, pero dapat solid yung produkto before you can talk about branding.
Correct.
And then I will define what branding is all about. Okay. Bakit kinakailangan ng branding? I'll start there. In the United States, but this is not the official beginning of branding. Pero famous na story lang ito in the branding exercise. Yung mga rancho, maraming mga baka. Di ba? So pag nagkakahalo-halo yung mga baka ng mga ranchers, they had problems identifying which cows belonged to a certain rancher, for example. So they started to yung tatak, ayun, they stamped the cows. Halimbawa, Aaron. So lahat ng baka na may tatak, Aaron yun. That's
Yung ibang may hikaw sa akin, mga ganon.
pag nilisensyahan mo yan, that's what you call a trademark. But that's a brand. Okay?
Okay.
There was one man among the organization, among the
ranchers.
members of the organization of the ranchers organization that refused to cooperate. Okay? Ayaw niya. Ba't ako magpapangalan? So lahat sila, merong McCormick, merong Nixon, gano'n. So lahat, walang problema. It was easy to identify their cows. There was one who refused to do it.
Okay.
You know his name? That became
Pangalan ba ito ng corned beef?
associated with the word that when you say this word, ang ibig sabihin ay different, adventurous, maverick. So pag sinasabi mong maverick, that became the word because it was Mr. Maverick.
Oh.
Okay, in the English language, you know what maverick is all about. I mean,
Yes.
different. I mean, not the ordinary one. So doon,
Kalokpan.
this story is associated to the development of branding.
Okay.
Ang branding kasi sa process. Proseso yun. Proseso yan, but para mas maintindihan po ng mga nakikinig sa atin, branding is
Yes.
simply what? It's about, it is a word that is associated with the market. Kasi pag produkto ka na, alam mo na dapat yung bagay sa yung merkado. Sino bang nakikinig sa ating podcast? Sino ba, or kung hindi man nakikinig, sino sa palagay natin
Ang target.
ang malapit or target natin dito sa parang restaurant, parang talk show, may panghapon, may panggabi, may
Correct.
ganito. So, pag nalaman mo yon from the perspective, from the point of view of an audience, it is about, ang dami niyan ha, ang daming klase, we wouldn't have enough time. It's about identity. Branding is identity. The brand is your identity. It is your experience. It is your reputation. It is your image. It is your association. Kaya may mga brand association. It is your, ang pinakamagandang branding is a brand franchise, meaning you don't even need a sign anymore, identifiable ka na. So it's basically a total, not naman total, but different levels of experiences that you have with a brand. Okay?
Right.
Pero, simply said, and one of my best friends, who's the president of an advertising company, always defines branding as a promise. So, ano ang brand ni McCoy at saka ni Aaron? It's a promise to entertain people who understand what drinking is all about or who doesn't understand what drinking is all about. So, sigurado ka na dun sa merkado.
Correct.
Okay. So, you know from where you speak of. Pagklaro yon yung, kasi yung brand experience is, halimbawa, may nakikinig sa atin na nanonood ngayon. Yung karanasan niya, natuwa ba siya, nagustuhan ba niya yung pag-uusap natin, that's a brand experience. Pero yung isang tao na nakarinig, uy, si McCoy at saka si Aaron, meron silang podcast. Ang guest nilang huli si Tito Boy Abunda. Dal si Tito Boy, bla 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 bla. Pero masaya kasi tungkol sa walwalan ang pinag-usapan nila at branding. That's a brand image. Okay? Meron pang brand identity. Ano ba talaga ang brand identity natin? So, kami isang palabas, that's a brand identity is expressed via a logo, a slogan, a story. Your brand right now is that thing that I remember. Hindi lahat ng umiinom nagwawalwal. Ang iba nagpo-podcast.
Tsaka sa logo namin, Tito Boy. Tingnan.
I'm sorry?
Ayun yung logo namin. No?
Yun.
May mic, may umiinom.
No, I like that.
Lasing. Lasing yung emoji.
I like that because it's a play. It's very current. It's a play. Alam mong alingwahe, the shot Puno, 'di ba?
Yes.
So it's a play on that. And kung alam mo 'yun, that becomes a brand image. So ang brand identity, yung identity the brand identity is yung personalidad, yung character ng palabas. Sino ka? 'Di ba? Your core.
Correct.
Oo, na hindi mo hihiwalayan yon. That's, how do you begin that? Yun. Yung na-identify mo na, ito, pero hindi rin limiting yun, McCoy, ha? Pwede ka lumabas maminsan-minsan. Itatry mo because a brand, para sa akin, I may be wrong to the brand experts, to me, a brand is alive. It is moving. It is not static. It evolves just like the product.
Correct.
Lalo na pag ang produkto tao. Oo, di ba? Yumayaman ang karanasan, nasasaktan, umiiyak, umiibig, iniiwan, nang iiwan.
So, nag-iiba ka ng ano talaga.
Nag-iiba ka ng perspective.
Compared to a product na,
yes,
yun na kasi yun eh.
which is controlled by a human being in terms of behavior.
Correct.
Oo, yun ang pagkakaiba nun.
Sorry, hindi ako makamove on. Kala ko talaga corned beef yung...
No, Mr. Maverick. Ano yung corned beef? Masasabi
Hindi kasi
mo?
sabi mo rancher. So, corned beef.
Rancho, no. Maverick was adopted into the English language to mean, yun nga, you're maverick, you're different,
Yes.
you're not ordinary. So, doon nang galing yun. It's an identity. Branding is an identity.
Yes.
Brand identity is very important. You start there. So hanggang mapunta ka doon sa brand image. Yung image naman, ang dami to, this is very complex. May communication system ka. Paano ka ba nakikipag-usap doon sa merkado? Tama ba yung lingwahe na ginagamit mo para maunawaan ka doon sa, I like your word kanina, you said intentional. Branding is intentional.
Correct.
It has to be intentional. Kaya yung nangyari sa akin na tinawag akong King of Talk, kahit hindi ko alam, somehow I think it was intentional for whoever created the brand.
Correct.
But you cannot do branding without very clear intentions. Because you're talking to a market. You're selling something to a market.
Very talaga, nag-stick na sa'yo yung Tito Boy. And yung follow up ko doon Tito Boy, yung reputation ba ng tao affects the branding? Or same ba dapat sila?
Nagbago ngayon yun. Di ba? Ngayon, you get involved in a controversy, you get involved, you have a sex video, you get involved in some scandals, give it a couple of weeks, months, nakakalimutan, may bago na naman. The disadvantage is that it's always on the net. Oo. Reputation, I don't want to say this because as a teacher, I should say that from an academic point of view, yes, branding should be attached to reputation. At dapat maganda ang intensyon.
Correct.
Pero, hindi naman natin ma-deny din na may mga tao, sinasadya ang brand. I think, the way Trump, for example, is positioning himself, he really doesn't care. I mean, he says words that you cannot stand. And that's precisely what he wants, people reacting. I just saw his last interview. So, is that reputation? Is that good, bad? Naging relative, no?
Correct.
Pero dapat ang
Nagmamarka
moralidad.
siya.
Oo.
Markado yung brand.
Markado at defined niya kung sinong kinakausap niya.
Yes. At may supporters. May naniniwala. So,
Meron.
effective.
At diehard.
Yes.
So, meron, alam niya, kilala niya.
Makes sense.
Yes, alam niya. Mali o tama para sa atin, pag Democrats ang tanungin mo, sasabihin nila, ay, ano ba, di ba?
Dito rin naman sa local scene natin, Tito Boy.
Yan
diba?
nga.
Yung mga-
Marami.
Yun nga, Tito Boy, nabuksan na lang din natin yung topic na yan. Parang, ano yung stand mo, Tito Boy, dun sa mga taong ginagawang parang personal brand yung pakikipagbardahan sa
For as
social
long
media?
as it works, Ako, I'm talking as a brand expert. Let's not put in what is good and bad. Let's not put in here morality. Ang akin lang, sana it works.
Nakakakuha na siya, hanggat nakakakuha siya ng
Sana it
engagements.
works. I wouldn't advise anybody to go there. Pero may mga, halimbawa, sa social media, doon sila kinakagat pag nakikipagmurahan, doon sila nakikipagbardagulan.
Correct.
You know, and again, nandoon na naman yung participation ng merkado. May merkado eh. May merkado. How do you not cooperate? Don't get there as an audience. Pero life is not about sermons on the mounts. You know, may kanya-kanya tayong merkado. Unfortunately, tayo na hindi tayo fans doon sa halimbawa bardagulan, bastusan, murahan, the only thing we can do is not to patronize, not to support it. And
Correct.
I will not cooperate. Diba?
Correct.
Pero I will not judge. I will lalo
No
na from
judgment.
a strictly academic point of view in the context of branding. Ayoko manghusga.
Correct. Tito Boy, yung sa mga ordinaryong tao, kung office worker lang ako, may branding pa ba dapat?
Meron dapat.
Hindi lang sila aware.
Oo, kasi halimbawa, tayo, again, this is cultural. Dahil we're easy to judge and we should stop this. We're easy to comment. And then we got into the level already of, this is part of my freedom of speech, at karapatan ko, etc. Pero, di ba, you work in an office. You have a woman, you have a man, na walang pakialam kulayan ng buhok, ang damit ay fuchsia, etc. Luka-luka naman ang babaeng yan. You have that, you know. But what you're talking about is a woman who clearly knows, or a man who clearly knows her brand. Yung babaeng yan, alam mo, mabait yan, pero walang pakialam yan, may kulay ang kuko, as if it is the biggest crime to color your nails. So meron talaga. Or if you want to deliver the message, for example, to your bosses, that you're a religious woman, or you know, you go to your HR and say, pag Webes po, or pag ganito, Wednesday baklaran day ko po, etc. You dress accordingly.
Correct.
Without your knowledge, you are branded. Let's talk about Philippine Airlines. You know, kanya-kanya yun. Oy, mabait ang batang yan. Mahusay makisama. At saka alam mo yan, senior ko yan. Pero pag magtrabaho yan, walang senior, walang, you know what I'm saying? Kanya-kanya. And then, how you present yourself is how you want people
To remember you.
Yes, and sometimes how to remember, how to deal with you.
Correct.
You know, may brand ka rin eh.
Yun yung may iwan, di ba, Tito Boy?
Correct.
Yun yung
May
ano.
iwan.
That lingers.
Yung first impression ba sa'yo, Tito Boy, minsan ba yun na rin yung branding mo? Or
Hindi, not necessarily. Impression kasi is based on instinct. Ang impression pwedeng mali. What seems is not always what is. Huy, akala ko, ang suplado mo, bait-bait mo pala. Huy, ang akala ko, yung mga maling akala. Sometimes an impression can be contributory to eventually your perception. Pero sa karanasan ko, an impression is very raw. Minsan, di ba, tama ako ha, maririnig natin to madalas, yung first impression ko is always correct. We love flattering ourselves with that. Pero an impression is based on instinct. This is very raw, which is visceral. Hindi yun intelligent process. Kaya nakita mo halimbawa, kita na yung puwet ang yung mga pek-pek shorts halimbawa, ay malandi yan. We're quick to
Correct.
judge. We're quick to judge. Yung pala you discover na, ay napakabuti niyang anak. Napakabuti niyang
Correct.
etc. When in fact you just saw a woman or a man expressing himself or herself.
Correct.
Parang yun yung maganda, Tito Boy, sa brand ng isang tao eh. Pwedeng mag-evolve, ano?
It's
Yun.
yun.
Oo.
May mga experts na nagsasabi, hindi, boy, kasi kailangan you stick to your core. Tama
Correct.
naman. Your core, si Aling Oprah usually talks about it. You know, the core. You know, your core is a space within yourself that only you and your God can access. It is a holy, sacred space. May mga
Right.
iba naman who talk about the core. Eckhart Tolle, for example, would say, it is who you are, it is who you were, and it is who you will be. May kanya-kanya, pero bawat isa sa atin, and this is the truth, Makoy, Aaron, may mga bagay na ikaw lang ang nakakaalam. Na ikaw lang
Yes.
ang nakakaalam.
Definitely, Tito Boy.
No one else. We can be the closest of friends, but there will always be something about it. And that's the core of a person. That's
Right.
the core of a person. Ito yung space na pinupuntahan natin pag tayo lang. When you enjoy yourself. That's a space where God resides, as one writer would say. And when you use your core to interact with others, ang tendency mo is nagiging respectful ka. Kasi ayaw mo ng kahit sino na nag-i-intrude doon sa space na yun.
Right.
Diba? You become,
Yes, yes.
it's a very Confucian concept. Very, very Confucian concept.
Pero Tito Boy, paano kaya natin mayroon bang certain measure para masabi na yung isang brand ng tao ay successful?
King of Talk.
Oo.
King of Talk, diba successful na yun?
Pag produkto, binibili. Oo, pag produkto, binibili. Pero tama yung kanina na it's not static. Because after a while, dadagdagan mo ng kulay ang gilid kasi nagsawa na ang tao. Pero may mga bagay na hindi mo iniiwanan. Like Coca-Cola, for example.
Yes.
Ang Coca-Cola, depends on what country you're in. May mga countries na gusto matamis. May mga countries ayaw ng matamis. So, iba-iba yung timpla nila. But the core product is Coca-Cola.
Yes.
So, you somehow evolve. Pero kailangan deliberate, intentional, conscious ka doon sa ginagawa mo at sa brand mo.
Correct. So yung Tito Boy,
I'm sorry, Makoya.
Go.
Hindi ito pwede yung, ay, ang brand ko ano? Hindi. Kailangan, ang brand ko ito dahil
ito ka.
ito ako.
Okay. Hindi pwede yung put on masyado.
At saka hindi pwedeng nanghiram ka ng iba.
Correct.
Gusto kong makipagbardagulan, hindi ka naman bagay sa bardagulan.
Yes.
Ay, gusto kong Inglesero ako, mali-mali naman ang English. You know, in my public speaking classes, I always say, go to your language of convenience. Kung hindi ka masyado marunong mag-Ingles, mag-Tagalog ka, mag-Bisaya ka,
Taglish.
mag-Taglish ka.
Right.
Doon ka. Kasi komportable ka doon.
Correct. So Tito Boy, yung brand mo na King of Talk, nung naging, syempre, kung tinatanong ni Aaron kanina, measure of success, successful naman talaga. Kahit di mo sabihin, kami na yung magsasabi. So nakita na kayo nung taong nung nakita kayo,
Ay, oo naman.
in constant, ba kayo, communication?
Oo naman.
So ano yung naging, na naging King of Talk ka?
I'm proud of you.
Ah.
I will tell you a story. In 2011, I won the best tayo. I won the best talk show for
Yung sa Asia
the
ba to?
bottom line in the Asian
Yes,
Television
yes.
Awards.
Kaya Asia's King of Talk ka na
He
doon.
was my first call. Sabi niya, alam mo, I will rest my case. You were right, I was wrong, and you have become a formidable interviewer, and I got hit in all parts of my bodies, and I take back my words, and ganon.
Bakit nga ba hindi ka umatras noon, Tito Boy?
Wala, I was very sure about my position as an artist manager. I was okay. Kumbaga sa sugal, matalo ako dito, hindi ako masyado takot dito.
Correct.
So, nakapaglaro ako ng baraha ko ng maayos. I was managing some of the biggest stars. I was publicist to some of the biggest singers. So, sumusugal ako dito, hindi ako mawawala ng damit dito. Pag hindi ako. And then I was just having fun. Pero, para naman sa mga aspiring hosts, the moment I started to do work on television, hindi naman ako tumigil sa kaaral.
Correct.
Doon
Yun
ko
naman
na
totoo.
nakilala sila, Aling Barang, Barbara Walters,
Aling Oprah.
Aling Oprah. Actually, Oprah, I love Oprah, but ang idolo ko talaga is the great Maya Angelou.
Yes.
Na tinitingnan
Sabi ko
talaga
dapat.
ni Oprah.
Oo.
Di ba? Pero by association, yun, I love the way Oprah, yun ang nag-reinvent. Remember,
Correct.
Oprah started as a Springer show. Oo, remember that show kung saan ipinakita ni Oprah yung she had an episode about the Ku Klux Klan, the white supremacists. Na pinagsisihan niya talaga. Kasi during the time, they were going for the ratings, for the numbers. Ang akala niya, habang binabanatan ang mga blacks in her own show, and then years later she said, I'm really sorry. I gave space, to such negativity. So, yun, nag-evolve yan. Yun ang
Correct.
nag-reinvent talaga.
Ang galing.
Until she became closer to, heaven.
Si Kumaring Oprah mo pala. Si Kumaring mo
Kumari
siya.
yun.
So, Aaron,
Yan.
dami natin natunan sa branding
Kaya
with
nga,
Tito Boy.
Pero kailangan muna natin bitinin ng inuman.
Yes.
Kasi mahaba-habang inuman to. Sabi nga
Yes.
nila.
Yung
Inuman todo.
Yes. Pero with a purpose. Wow.
Yes.
Sa susunod na episode, eto na yung shot puno questions natin kay Tito Boy.
Right. Ito
Meaning
yung mga
random.
mas makikilala natin in a more interesting level si Tito. Kung sino ba ang Tito Boy Abunda.
This is Talk Shot Puno. Abangan nyo episode 2 with Boy Abunda.
Yes, maraming salamat.
See you.